Just time for another update. Today I'm going to go over a little bit of what's going to be in the first release. It's basically going to be an update to the actual action menus, kind of removing some of them, so just kind of get people to move over to keyboard commands for some of it, and it deletes quite a few that are just unnecessary. I'm just going to show you kind of what it's going to look like. See, it's got new rearm actions, and big change is that now the default action key would be like the space bar. You just have to change that yourself in the controls. And stuff like you know, you're standing over here, it lets you get into the cargo. You stand over here, it switches to driver. This is all done completely without scripting. It's just a change to the configuration. That's working a little bit better. And stuff like gear, there's no more gear action menu, it's just G. So you can see there is a slight visualization, the little triangle. It only shows up on things that you actually have a gear menu for. There, it's at the bottom. But that won't be in this release because that's a scripted thing. But it's improved to the point, like from what BIS did, that you don't really have to question whether you're gonna get a gear menu on something, you know. So they've been doing work on their end. So as you can see, like I don't have any action menus by default. You can't change weapons. So launcher is, oh, I don't have a launcher. Pistol is Shift P. Shift P. Reload. Same as it was. Let's take this weapon here. And there's different kinds of magazines that you can take for it. So this is the only time you can change your magazine. Before, it would, if you had multiple magazine types, it would kind of mess up. When you did reloading, it could change your magazine, and if you ran dry, it would just cause some strangeness. But now you pretty much can change your magazine when you see fit. Now there's, if it was, you notice the rearm one was a hand with little bullets on it, but this is just the exchange weapon one. That's still a work in progress, but you should have a little weapon icon on there. But this is still a work in progress. And oh, I guess I'm a medic. See, it has new icon, or new icons. Sorry, they're just a little bigger and clearer. So you can see this guy was injured. I really hope they come back with a better medical system than first aid kit, because that's pretty boring. This guy has stuff I can take. And yeah, you can get in, and there's no actions really to do inside here. Just move to driver's seat. Now that you have fewer actions, there's usually only one present. So using the default action key, it's so much faster because you don't really ever have to sort through a whole list of what you want to do. You know, there's only one key that's really going at once. But it's not always, but basically if you're in a vehicle or you're a soldier, most of the time you'll only have one action at the most. I'll go show you some helicopters here. So inside a helicopter, you don't have any actions available to you until you like turn on the engine, then it lets you turn it off. But you know, everything, all the auto hover You could even remove auto hover if you really wanted to, but whatever. Auto hover, manual fire, get out commands, that's all keyboard stuff now. V's to get out. And on this side for autopilots, or for copilots, sorry, just added some graphics to some of the main commands, like release controls, take controls, stuff like that. Just make it a little more fancy or better looking. Yeah, so if you're using helicopters, vehicles, I mean, you're not really going to be using the action menu that much. And it's a little bit more fun that way. This is new stuff here. This won't be in the release, but see, like, the only option left to you is to switch between, you know, you can just pop back and forth. Because there's no get out, there's no gear, any of that stuff, so. I've been working on the visualization of keys itself. Like, see, I can hop across to the pilot from the different side there. Got it running pretty stable. I mean, it can run on computers that don't even meet the minimum requirements, so it's pretty streamlined. I'm just going to show you how it works with without the fancy door interaction. This is just completely default. I mean, just having your default action as the spacebar in itself is a huge help in terms of actual movability. The doors. I think you should increase the range that you can actually form. Like, you have to get right up against there. If you notice, if you're looking through a doorway, this is one of the problems with the default system, is you couldn't get an action unless you're actually pointing at the object. You couldn't just be near it. You had to be looking at the actual geometry. Like that. So if you're trying to close a door behind you, you couldn't. You had to be looking at the building. But I don't know. I've seen this exact same system in other games, actually, where you had to look at the door. It's a little harder to close them, but open them isn't that bad, actually. But with such a short range on it, you have to get in the way of the door geometry. Like, it practically hits you when it opens. I think, yeah. But I mean, it actually works a lot better now that it's just an action menu. There's, as you can see, it's just one door, but just completely by itself. Because, you know, keys, that's only really going to cover at first, you know, the default buildings. But, you know, there's custom buildings and all that stuff that would require manual input to get that going. But, you know, the goal should be to get it working regardless of the scripts. Scripts are kind of a crutch, I think. You should try and do as much as you can with the default game, because it just makes it more resilient to future changes and stuff like that. See, this house here uses keys, so I can go through a lot faster, because I'm just flicking the mouse. Forgot which way the door opened. Well, that's generally, you know, the effect that it's going to have on gameplay. It just basically reduces the amount of confusion and clumsiness that you have to deal with. One thing I'm going to show you before I go is the explosives. This is very basic. This is just to kind of get it out the door. I do want to do something fancy with the explosives. But for now, it's just maybe changing the priorities of the default commands here. Just going to play with explosives here for a minute. Now, if I did this right, place explosives should always be the priority. Because if you have explosives, then this I should take. You don't want detonate to be the default because it's so easy to accidentally bump that one. So I tried to make detonate a low priority, so if you ever came upon something like this, it would hopefully prevent you from accidentally blowing yourself up. Like, it should be below getting in and out of vehicles. Pretty much any action you do should be the lowest priority. In the future system, I'm not quite sure how I would like to do it. Maybe like a detonator type thing. I've actually made an add-on before, never posted anything about it, but it let you place an explosive and actually set up a delay timer, so when you detonate it, you would wait a certain amount of time before it actually detonated. It was really cool. You could put in, like, you know, down to the millisecond, and you could make really cool explosives because it wouldn't just all explode at the one time. They could, each one could like ripple fire every second, and you could have, you know, a little bit of fun with that. Yeah, so I'm not around anything else, so the only thing I left is to detonate them. I'm not an engineer. If I was, I would be able to disarm them, but see, like, I changed some of the names as well, like start timer, 40-second fuse. And again, everything should be prioritized over the detonate. Yeah, you know, just let me know kind of what you think of that. Okay, I guess I was standing a little bit too close to the explosives. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that. I wanted to just say that, you know, Arma is actually a pretty easy game to play now that all that stuff is out of the way. I mean, you can just get in and out of vehicles, change weapons, you know, all this stuff, really without too much hassle. Shouldn't be any more than any other game. A game shouldn't be hard to play, you know what I mean? Like, it should be a challenge for tactics, and, you know, you should be playing the game. You shouldn't be fighting the game. You should be fighting the enemy. So, just trying to streamline it. You know, there's no such thing as a game that's, how should I say it? There's no risk in making a game that's too easy. I mean, it should be pretty natural in terms of movement and interaction. You shouldn't have to do much. And, you know, the challenge should come from the situation, from the tactics, from the gameplay, not this, you know, when you think about interacting with stuff, it's so petty. I mean, it shouldn't be difficult. And it's usually not that important. I mean, you just walk up to something, you just have to hit one button. You don't have to fight against the game. One thing I was thinking about is, I kind of wonder, you know, that same mindset, are people going to think that the game is too easy? I mean, there's not going to be it's not going to feel so clunky. Are people going to really feel the same way about it? Because it's going to be quite a bit different, I think. I know from my side of it, it feels quite a bit different in terms of the challenge. So it used to seem like you're doing a lot of stuff, you know, just even getting your gear organized. But now it's pretty simple. I just thought I'd throw this in here at the end. I just wanted to show you the effect of removing action menus has on an add-on. This is the FA18. I'm sure everybody's played with this, but he has 4 custom actions. And now you see that once all those unnecessary ones are removed, it's no big deal having, you know, it's fancy 4 actions here. So, you know, so you can fold the wings, start her up, take off, turn on the afterburner. And you'll put up your landing gear. Not using any action menus. Turn her off. I'm changing the actions, you know, it's mapped to a little, what do you call it, a hat switch on my joystick. And that's a really easy way to navigate through action menus, is with the joystick. If you use vehicles, you really should have one. The only real time that you have multiple actions is in an airplane. So, you know, the action menu system does work in certain situations like this. This is not a bad system. But, you know, it could be improved on, like, there could be, you know, some kind of umbrella add-on that, you know, says, well, afterburner for every airplane is always going to be this one key, and it could just be set up. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's fine. I guess I'm flying off into the sunset here, so yeah, well, thanks for watching. I'll be releasing something soon.